Cubs fans, take a deep breath. What I'm about to tell you will send chills down your spine, make your heart race, and remind you exactly why we bleed Cubby Blue through every single October dream and heartbreak. Right now, as I'm writing this, our beloved Northsiders are standing at the most crucial crossroads of the 2025 season, and the next 72 hours could literally determine whether we're watching playoff baseball at Wrigley or planning our winter fishing trips. You feel that knot in your stomach? Good! That means you're paying attention. Because while you've been checking the standings obsessively and refreshing MLB trade rumors every 5 minutes, 3 seismic shifts have been brewing in our organization that will either catapult us to October glory or leave us wondering what if for another long, cold Chicago winter. First, there's a veteran ace sitting just across town, yes, right here in Chicago, who could be the missing piece to our rotation puzzle. A guy who's been absolutely dealing this year, and get this, he's wearing the wrong shade of black and white. The crosstown connection that nobody saw coming, but makes perfect sense when you really think about it. Then there's the nuclear option, a trade scenario that involves not just 1, but potentially 4 of our most precious prospects. Names that make prospect hounds drool and make Cubs development coaches lose sleep. We're talking about gambling our future for our present, and the stakes have never been higher. And finally, there's a right-handed flamethrower down in Miami who might just be the controllable arm that transforms our rotation from pretty good to championship caliber. A guy with an electric fastball and years of team control, but the price tag? It might just break our hearts before it fixes our rotation. Cubs fans, I need you to hit that like button right now if you're ready for this emotional roller coaster, and make sure you're subscribed because what happens next will define our season. Comment below with your gut feeling. Are we buyers or sellers after you hear these 3 stories? The trade deadline is in 3 days. 3 days to decide our fate. 3 days to determine if this magical season continues or if it becomes another almost story in Cubs lore. Your hands are probably shaking right now, and they should be, because what starts with a crosstown phone call might just end with a championship banner. Let me paint you a picture that'll make every Cubs fan's heart stop for just a second. You know that feeling when you're watching a no-hitter in the 9th inning. That's exactly what Cubs brass felt when they started seriously looking at Adrian Hauser. Yeah, you heard that right. The same Hauser who just carved us up for 6. 2 innings in a 12-5 White Sox victory that still stings like a Cubs loss in October. But here's where it gets absolutely wild, Cubs fans. This isn't just any rental pitcher. This is a guy who's been absolutely dealing this season with a 6.2 record and a microscopic 2.10 ERA over 68.2 innings. Remember, this is the same pitcher who was literally released by the Texas Rangers in mid-May and picked up by our crosstown rivals on what was essentially a prove-it contract. Well, guess what? He's proven it, and now we might be the beneficiaries. Think about the poetry of this for a second. Adrian Hauser, spent 7 seasons torturing us with the Milwaukee Brewers. You know, those same Brewers who just took over first place in our division while we've been watching our pitching staff crumble like deep dish pizza in the rain. This guy knows our division better than we know our own bullpen, and he's been absolutely lights out since the White Sox gave him a second chance. The Cubs front office got a front row seat to the Adrian House of News show on Friday night, and instead of being bitter about giving up 12 runs, they were probably taking notes on his stuff. 6 2/3 innings of work against a lineup that includes some serious bats? That's exactly the kind of veteran presence our rotation desperately needs behind Shota Imanaga and Matthew Boyd. But here's what's keeping Jed Hoyer up at night. Cubs fans, Adrian Hauser is set to be a free agent after this season. This isn't a long-term solution. This is a win-now move that screams desperation and championship hunger at the same time. The White Sox are in full rebuild mode, which means they'll take prospects and they'll take them gladly. The question isn't whether we can get him, it's whether we should mortgage pieces of our future for a 4-month rental. Every Cubs fan knows that feeling when you're watching a game in September and thinking, if only we had one more reliable starter. Well, that starter might be sitting in the visiting clubhouse right now, wearing the wrong uniform, but possessing exactly what we need. the crosstown connection that could change everything. But Cubs fans, if you think the Adrian situation is complicated, wait until you hear about the prospect earthquake that's about to shake Wrigley Field to its very foundation. Cubs fans, sit down for this one, because what I'm about to tell you will either fill you with championship dreams or give you nightmares about trading away the next Chris Bryant. The MLB Network's John Morosi just dropped a bombshell that has our front office walking a tightrope between glory and regret, and the names he mentioned will make your heart pound like a walk-off homer in Game 7. We're talking about Owen Casey, our #1 prospect who's been absolutely raking in AAA with 20 home runs and a slash line that looks like something out of a video game. The Cubs are gonna do everything humanly possible to keep him, but here's the gut punch. If we want a controllable starter with multiple years of team control, Owen Casey who might be the only chip valuable enough to get it done. But wait, it gets deeper. Jackson Wiggins, our 5th-ranked prospect and potential future ace with a 2.20 ERA and 79 strikeouts in just 62 innings this season. The organization is practically begging teams not to ask for him, but you know what that means. If someone comes calling with the right offer, even Jackson Wiggins could be on the table. The really heartbreaking part, Kevin Alcantara and James Triantos, guys who represent years of development and scouting, are apparently the movable pieces in this chess game. Alcantara, our 4th-ranked prospect, might be the sacrifice we make to avoid losing. Casey, Triantos, who can play multiple positions and represents the kind of versatility every championship team needs, might be the price we pay for bullpen help. Cubs fans, this is where championship dreams get messy. We're not just talking about trading prospects. We're talking about potentially dismantling the foundation of our next decade for the chance to win right now. It's the ultimate all-in moment, and frankly, it's terrifying and exhilarating at the same time. The front office knows we have the best record in the National League. They know we have the best run differential in all of baseball. They know this might be our window, and windows in baseball don't stay open forever. Remember 2016? We traded away pieces of our future for that championship, and it was worth every single prospect we gave up. But here's what's eating at every Cubs fan's soul right now. What if we trade Owen Casey and he becomes the next Kyle Tucker? What if we hold on to him and watch our championship slip away because we couldn't get that one extra starter or that lockdown closer? The names being thrown around as targets make this even more complicated. We're linked to Eugenio Suarez, one of the best third basemen in baseball who could solve our hot corner situation permanently. We're in the mix for controllable starters like Joe Ryan, Mackenzie Gore, and Mitch Keller. We're even flirting with closers like Kyle Finnegan and Joan Duran. Every single one of these moves requires prospects. Every single championship caliber addition means saying goodbye to a piece of our future. The question that's haunting Wrigley Field right now is simple. Are we willing to bet everything on 2025? Cubs fans, your hearts are probably racing right now, and they should be. Because what happens next might just determine the next decade of Cubs baseball. And it all centers around one electric right-hander who might be worth the ultimate gamble. Cubs fans, here's your moment of truth, your championship crossroads, your why we play 162 games revelation that will either make you a believer or leave you questioning everything about this organization's direction. His name is Edward Cabrera, and he might just be the controllable ace who transforms our World Series dreams from wishful thinking to legitimate expectation. Picture this, a 27-year-old right-hander with electric stuff, sitting down in Miami with a 3.48 ERA, 92 strikeouts in 88 innings, and here's the kicker. He's under team control through 2028. While other teams are chasing expensive rentals and overpaying for half-season solutions, Edward Cabrera represents the holy grail of trade deadline acquisitions. A young, talented, controllable pitcher who could anchor our rotation for years. John Morosi said it best. Edward Cabrera has one of the best arms in baseball, and he's been flying under the radar while everyone's obsessing over the bigger names. But Cubs fans, we know better than most that sometimes the best moves are the ones nobody sees coming. This is Edward Cabrera's breakout season, and the Marlins, stuck in their own rebuild, might be willing to part with him for the right package of prospects. Here's where this story gets absolutely electric. Remember all those prospects we just talked about. Kevin Alcantara, James Triantos, maybe even pieces of our farm system that haven't been mentioned yet. Edward Cabrera. Might be exactly the kind of controllable arm that makes trading him not just palatable, but brilliant. Think about it. While Adrian gives us 4 months of hope, Edward Cabrera gives us 4 years of championship windows. While other teams mortgage their futures for rental players, we could be setting ourselves up for sustained excellence with a pitcher who's just entering his prime. But Cubs fans, here's what's going to test your faith in this organization. The price for Edward Cabrera won't be cheap. The Marlins aren't giving away a 27-year-old starter with team control for spare parts. This is where Jed Hoyer earns his extension, where championship dreams either live or die, where we find out if this front office has the courage to make the move that defines a generation. The trade deadline is tomorrow. Tomorrow, Cubs fans. In less than 24 hours, we'll know if we're the team that played it safe and wondered what if, or if we're the team that went all in and brought a championship back to the north side. So here's my final call to action. Smash that like button if you trust Jed Hoyer to make the right call, subscribe if you're riding with this team through whatever comes next, and comment below with your answer to the only question that matters right now. Are you ready to bet everything on 2025? Because Edward Cabrera, Adrian, and the future of Cubs baseball all hang in the balance, and tomorrow we'll find out what this organization is really made of. Cubs fans, our championship dreams are 24 hours away from becoming either reality or another beautiful heartbreak. Which one do you think it'll be?